All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and it's a new season, which means it's a new time to look at the Monument to the Lost Lights and give you some advice if you're a new player, if you're an existing player, returning player, whatever it may be. I'm going to give you my advice on all these exotics, basically giving you like a tier list of which ones I think are the best and the ones that are worth grabbing. Now, obviously, there's a ton of sandbox changes, so I may need to make an update to this, especially based on the new dungeon and what is really good for that. But what I'm basing it on is what's really good for the current raid. We've got the Rolk raid with the Vow of the Disciple, and then obviously the PvP sandbox. And I've paid pretty close attention to the updates overall, and I have played a good amount of Crucible today. This is the first day of the new season, so if I have to make an update, I will. But we'll go through it all. Sturm, we got a 120, got terrible handling. We do have the new Drang to go with it though, so that could be a nice little added bonus if you like using the Drang. It does actually have one of the best optimal time to kills, the sidearm, and so pairing the two together is pretty good. And the updated Drang is a little bit of a help to the Sturm, but overall the Sturm is definitely far from the meta. Mida multi-tool, same thing. We've got the Mida mini tool with the updated version with the opulence weapons, so that's kind of cool. It adds a little bit more to the Mida multi-tool, but definitely far from the meta currently. Rat King, we have no buffs really to sidearms overall. Bungie did nerf shotguns significantly, although my experience in PvP was that people are still running around pretty significantly with shotguns. And Rat King, probably not even the best of the sidearms, so probably skip that one for now. Sleeper is always a really good option. Great, excellent damage output overall. I'm a big fan of linear fusions for a variety of different raid encounters, endgame encounters. The new dungeon, I can't predict the future, but I would imagine there's probably going to be an encounter where you're going to want to use linear fusions. They're just really consistent, and rockets are really good DPS overall, especially Rocket Izzy. But if you're not using that combo, or if you miss a rocket by a boss moving a lot, then linear fusions tend to be the better option actually. So Sleeper is definitely a really good option, and probably one of the best ones to grab if you're a new player out there and need some strong power weapons for boss melting. Worldline Zero, haven't seen anyone use this in a long time. RIP Worldline Skating. We've got Polaris Lance here. Now, we do have a solar weapon. It's a 150 RPM scout, and those are some of the worst. It's probably the best of its archetype overall, but still not far from being meta by any means, and don't really need to use that in any encounters. Whisper of the Worm's probably like A tier right now with its recent buffs. It's actually pretty good overall, but still there's better options in the power ammo slot. We have the Outbreak Perfected. This is honestly probably S tier. I wouldn't put it quite as high a tier as like the Sleeper overall, but there's so many good instances to just use Outbreak, especially with like a few people on your fire team using it. So definitely worth grabbing if you don't already have it. Legend Valkyrius definitely needs a buff. That is no bueno in the current sandbox. Moving on, we have the Ace of Spades and S tier hand cannon for PvP. Pretty average for PvE. We have the Last Word recently getting a buff for mouse and keyboard. I haven't quite tried it yet. I doubt it's going to be significantly better on mouse and keyboard, but this is already, S plus tier for controller in PvP. So keep that in mind. Then we've got the Le Monarch, fires poison arrows, and this is a really good bow for both PvE and PvP, so potentially grab that one if you haven't already got it. Le Jotun just recently got its Catalyst. I haven't quite gotten the Catalyst yet, but if you want to try something new and have something fun to chase for, grab the Jotun, get the Catalyst out there. Should be pretty cool to use with the Solar 3.0 builds with time, and I'm definitely scared for a Jotun meta upon us potentially. Iznag's Burden, an S tier exotic, so good, especially if you have someone on your team using Div. A must-have exotic, certainly something you want to use and get used to, especially Izzy. Autoloading Rocket is like the Omega DPS build you're going to be wanting to use for most like fast melt encounters. Like for example, when we go to the new dungeon, it'll more than likely be an instance where you'll probably want to use that. Thorn, really good exotic hand cannon, probably between A and S. Lumina, probably A tier, and the Truth, probably B tier. And then we have the Bad Juju, probably B tier at best, maybe even C tier. Did get a bunch of recent buffs though with pulses and exotics, but so I'll leave it maybe B tier. The Anarchy, unfortunately, is really good, but it's pretty much outclassed by a variety of other things in the game, and just it's good for just passive damage, but it doesn't really do good damage output overall. So it's like just not worth it for your power ammo slot. You could use so many other things that are just going to give you a lot better damage output, namely rockets or linear fusions. Just do so much more. We've talked about it a bunch extensively, where it's basically like Witherhoard basically does everything the Anarchy does, but just a lot better, and it's a special weapon. We've got the Taraba here, a really good exotic, probably S tier. You won't see a whole lot of people using this necessarily, but when you do use it and use it right, this thing is super lethal. And then we have the always on time. This Sparrow is bugged to be faster than all the other Sparrows in the game. Definitely worth having. It's the one I rock and the one the majority of my friends rock, just because why not go faster? Then we're going to move on to the Shadowkeep exotics. We have the Leviathan's Breath. Some recent changes to this. I think last season, still not quite that good though. Not the exotic you're looking for Unstoppables per se. I think they changed it so that it now procs the Unstoppable and then does the full damage of the Unstoppable damage. So it was a nice change to this with this recent season, but still not meta by any means. We've got Ariana's Vow now. If you don't have Arbalist, the anti-barrier mods this season are pretty bad. So you might actually want to rock this if you need to run anti-barrier for your fire team. So I would highly recommend grabbing this. It was S tier previous seasons before Arbalist got the buff. It went down to like B tier because Arbalist was just that much better. Arbalist is still better even after the Arbalist nerf. However, this is still a really good option for barrier. Bastion does have Unstoppable on it, which is funny, but definitely not the best Unstoppable option. I've used it a variety of different times just to see if it would be good. It's really not. It's pretty much B tier. And then PvP it's pretty good because, you know, just super lethal, but it's up to you to decide if you want that for PvP. Symmetry is an exotic that I really want to like, but just doesn't seem to have any sort of place in the sandbox. And PvE, PvP, can't seem to find a place for this thing, but so I'm going to put it in B tier, maybe even C tier. The Devil's Ruin actually has some serious potential. Bungie's even talking about how they're going to adjust the ammo economy for this thing. We got infinite ammo on a sidearm, and that high-powered laser is really sick, so it's probably an A tier exotic, and could be worth grabbing. Tommy's Matchbook, probably a B tier exotic. Does have some cool potential here and there with its overheating perk that gets on it, but overall not that crazy, and it's not an auto rifle season as far as I've seen. We got the Fourth Horseman. Definitely a good exotic for burst DPS, so like a very short-term burst DPS, but not the best in the game. Witherhoard, now this is S plus tier. I can't speak highly enough about this. Most of you already know. Most of you are already using this. You know, it's not like a new thing in the game, but this is definitely like a must-have exotic. If you don't have Witherhoard, get Witherhoard for sure. The Rudist's Effigy is really, really fun. The Void Spheres are fun to pick up and slam. Doesn't matter, PvE, PvP, it's both fun, but neither one is at meta, probably B tier at best. And then the Traveler's Chosen, also another exotic sidearm. Doesn't really do much, gives you the abilities, which is nice for beating bounties per se, but overall, really not the best exotic, and you're really not going to choose this as your go-to for any end game content in PvE or PvP for that matter, so keep that in mind. So we got the Shadowkeep. Now we're going to the Beyond Light exotics. We've got the Duality. Some potential here. I like that it's both a pellet and a slug, but it's basically not, because it does two different things, it's not really good at one or the other. I think slugs are going to be really, really good this season. I see myself using a slug a lot more than previous seasons because Lord of Wolves got nerfed. Lord of Wolves getting nerfed does not mean Duality is now the new replacement as the exotic shotgun, in my opinion. We'll see. Time will tell. Maybe I'll live to eat those words, but I think I'll probably just end up using a slug and not Duality. But Tiku's so good. Must have for sure. S tier. Make sure to grab this and use this. So good. The Cryesthesia. It has some potential here and there, but it's not meta by any means. Maybe B tier at best. Lawrence Driver still really good. They recently nerfed the body shot damage from it, but this thing has like aimbot, aim assist with controller especially, so definitely use this. Like, it's going to be so good. This thing is going to be an absolute tyrant in Trials, so probably S tier for that. And then the Agar Scepter was really, really good, and a lot of people were using it with stasis builds before Void 3.0, and still has a lot of potential, still really good. Probably A tier currently, but if you spec things out to use this, it's actually really, really good with stasis builds. But it's Solar 3.0 season, so probably no one will care to do that. We got the Grand Overture, which is this exotic machine gun that's arc. Not gonna lie, I have not spent much time using this. I haven't seen many people using this overall. I probably have to give it like a B tier rating. And I've maybe shot it a few times, so I'm not gonna act like I'm some sort of Grand Overture expert, but no one's really using this, so I'm gonna give it B tier, maybe A tier at best, but really not a boss melter by any means, and really not that good in Crucible. As far as Legacy gear goes, we have a lot of Sunset stuff that you can now use in Iron Banner. Is anything so noticeable and amazing that you really want to use an Iron Banner? Probably Revoker. I mean, Revoker is going to be like give you like free ammo back. A lot of people probably use that. Other than Revoker, I don't really see anything else that's going to be too crazy in Iron Banner. All this other stuff seems like it could be replaced by stuff that's not Sunset. And then the stuff that isn't Sunset, there's really nothing crazy. Overture's Lie has really bad handling, so why not a lot of people are going to use that. Eudora is still a really good option, so you might want to grab that. Salvo, good option. No Composure is great. Ascendancy is mid, and Reckless Endangerment is mid. So there it is. That's a wrap on all of your Monument to the Lost Lights review. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the rankings or opinions I have on any given exotics. I try to base everything on the meta and not just the things that I like. I try to base it on the sandbox, the things I see, the things that seem to be the most effective in the game. And this is meant to be helpful for you. So if you did find this helpful, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.